One, please.
Hello again, everyone. This is Abra, and today I wanted to talk about something I briefly touched on in one of my previous videos, just kind of how there's this general feel that modern movies are just blah. I mean, they really do feel underwhelming. Not all of them, of course. I mean, you'll have some of the outliers there that, still impress on all levels, visually, the acting, the storytelling, music, all of it comes together. But it feels like it's not like it was back in the day. Pardon that expression, because I know it seems like we're always trying to chase that feeling of nostalgia. And, sometimes we put our rosy colored glasses on and things might not always be as great as we remember them, or we think we remember them being. And I wanted to just touch on this topic because I haven't really been to the movies that much this year. Most of the releases this year seem to be sequels or remakes. I hunger for something new. Anyway, I thought I'd kind of delve into some of the elements. Why do modern movies feel mostly mediocre? I started thinking about that and did a little digging. And here are some of the reasons why recent movies might seem underwhelming. A big one is franchise fatigue. The industry tends to lean heavily on sequels, reboots. You have your cinematic universe, this and that. Studios want movies that will fit into an established universe. And why? Because they have shown that they can put butts in seats. But those films are just starting to wear on me, and I think on a lot of film goers that are just kind of hungry for something a little bit more. What happens with these movies is because they're trying to fit them into that universe, it can lead to standardization of the cinematography. And so they might not take risky or unique choices when it comes to how they are going to film the movie. There are some great sequels out there, but it's just at this point, it's really starting to feel repetitive and just dull, uninspired. As I mentioned earlier, not all modern films suffer from this. You do get the occasional grand movie, but overall, it does seem like many films have kind of lost that distinct handcrafted visual identity in favor for that efficiency. Another reason for, kind of the lackluster movie scene is just, as I mentioned, risk aversion. The studios are going to prioritize the safe, profitable projects over those original, bold stories. Let's be fair. You have people that are investing in these, even though it's an art form, it's still a product. And they are hoping to not only make their money back, but also hopefully see it as an investment where they can make money, which unfortunately can often lead to those formulaic movies. Another reason that movies might feel like they've lost their punch is just the rapid shift in technology. We used to go to the theaters and then we'd have to wait for the movies that we really enjoyed to come out on home video, then DVD. But as the internet has become more advanced and can handle more traffic, more bandwidth, we have the shift over to streaming. So the studios are now starting to invest in the safe bet of streaming services rather than just the traditional theatrical exclusives. Many of the movies are shot with almost like TV-like efficiency. They're not planning these really creative shots. If you go back to one of my previous videos where I'm commenting about just how visually appealing the 28 Days Later movie was, the director just really took the time to think out the shot and the type of mood that he was trying to capture from scene to scene. The next reason is a big one to me, CG overload. It just has gotten kind of crazy. I understand in the interest of budget and time that it's easier to just render something in a computer than go out on location and have stunt doubles or practical effects. But I really feel like many films rely too much on CGI and they are sacrificing that look and feel of practical effects. It's something about our eyes and our minds, just it'll take you out of the movie if there's too much reliance on CGI. Strike a good balance, still have the practical effects, but just kind of use the CG to throw some polish on there. When the filmmakers and studios rely heavily on CGI, one of the big problems is that it causes the lighting to really feel artificial. Many modern movies have a drab, desaturated look, and a few big reasons for this are an overuse of digital color grading.
Color grading is the digital manipulation of the colors and tones of the image you see on screen. This was first used in 2000 on Oh Brother, Where Art Thou, and since then has become an essential part of literally every motion picture you see.
You'll notice a lot of teal and orange because it makes the skin tones of the actors just kind of pop. But the downside of this is it makes the movies look artificial. Everything is too uniform in the scenes, so it doesn't feel like real life. Another issue with the colors is where everything kind of feels muted with the color palettes. The scenes can look gray or washed out. Another big issue, we're not seeing as many strong scripts and stories as maybe we once did, and there is such a demand for content, again, going back to the technology of the streaming services. This leads to rush writing or weak scripts from the writers because they're under that constant pressure to produce.
I am not dying of Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch!
Another thing that can really ruin a movie is shaky camera and the overuse of close-ups.
Please, come closer. Too close, a little too close.
Many modern movies rely on handheld shaky cams or tight close-ups. And what happens is this ends up removing the dynamic framing and the careful shot compositions that made older films just really visually engaging. And this is kind of a personal pet peeve, but I think the over-reliance on digital cameras has really affected films. And the problem with digital cameras is they have the benefit of being incredibly sharp, but sometimes it's almost too clean. It removes that texture or warmth that you kind of got from the old film stock. Again, it's just a personal preference. It doesn't ruin the movie, but it's just one more thing that kind of just makes the movie feel as though it doesn't have as much character. In terms of the art form of cinematography, it is kind of depressing because a lot of that art is just lost in the pursuit of profit. And again, there has to be a balance because at the end of the day, people have to turn a profit, but I'd like to see a little bit more of a balance between the profit and the art form. And, not saying that that's an easy thing to do. I don't have a catch-all answer. Maybe some of you watching have a suggestion, but at the end of the day, there's nothing wrong with a good old popcorn movie where you can just go to a theater, unwind, get a unhealthy bucket of popcorn, and just kind of lose yourself in the fictional world for a couple of hours. I just wanted to give a commentary on just kind of what I noticed with movies, and it gets kind of discouraging sometimes because I like movies for the art form. Anyway, those are my 2 cents. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, take care.